Hey, Allison Verhalen here, coming at you live for today's Tip Tuesday. And today I wanted to talk to you about the interplay between SEO and web design, just because they do go hand in hand. They do need to work together in order to get results. I mean, obviously, SEO is part of your digital marketing strategy, your online strategy, and the whole idea is to get people to your website, right? So if your website doesn't work the way it's supposed to, then your SEO strategy isn't going to be effective. Your content strategy isn't going to be effective. Your social media strategy might fall apart in some places too, as well, right? Everything, all of these different things need to work together. So even though people like me focus on SEO and content strategy, and I do not do social media and I do not do web design or development, I always say I know just enough to be dangerous with those things, right? So don't come to me for those services, but make sure that you are getting someone when you hire a website designer and or developer. I do use those terms a bit interchangeably. They are different, but most people I've come across do both. But in any case, when you are hiring someone to do one or both of those things, it's best to have an SEO strategist on the call with you to make sure that the person you're hiring has an understanding of SEO and how what they're going to do can impact your SEO in a good way or in a bad way, depending on their capabilities, right? So a lot of people will say they know SEO. A lot of people who call themselves SEO strategists will say that they know SEO and they don't. Even just from what they say on social media, I can tell they don't know what they're talking about. But unless you're an SEO strategist, you don't know them from Adam, right? So if you are hiring a web designer and or developer, I am going to tell, and you can't have your SEO strategist on the call for whatever reason. If you don't have an SEO strategist, if they're not available, I am going to tell you the questions that you should be asking to make sure that they are going to create a website that not only looks awesome, but is also going to help your SEO strategy instead of just being a digital business card. A lot of people use it as a credential and they don't really take advantage of all the benefits that a good website has to offer. So I'm going to go over that for you here now. Here are some of the things that you should ask. First of all, how do you deal with redirects, right? So a redirect is when someone clicks on a link. This is especially applicable if if you're starting a new website and you are either creating a new URL, maybe you are renaming the website, maybe you are renaming your business, you're going through a whole brand refresh. That's great, but it can be kind of confusing if people are clicking on links to your old website and they're not finding it because it's not there anymore. The URL it pulls up a 404 error, right? Page not found, website does not exist. That's super frustrating. They're not going to hunt around and try and find your website. They're going to click away and find a website that they can actually find and actually gives them what they need. So you need a bit of code in that page telling them, if someone clicks on this website or looks for this URL, send them here. So it will automatically pull up your new website, the new URL. No one will be the wiser, right? So ask them how they deal with redirects. How do they manage page load speed, right? This is especially a designer question. Designers sometimes get a bit carried away. We all do at some point. We get excited about our jobs and all the different things that we can do. And sometimes designers want to make stuff look really cool with big images and long videos and big videos, and it takes forever to load. And then people will either not click on it. They either won't wait for it to load, then they're bouncing away. Then Google sees that they're bouncing away and is then going to drop you in the rankings. So it's kind of a vicious circle that you get into because Google doesn't want to direct people to a website that they're not going to be using. So ask them about page load speed. Images and videos are the biggest culprits, the most common culprits when it comes to slow page load speed or low page load speed. Make sure that it takes no more than 3 seconds. So ask them about that. Make sure you can still have an awesome looking website, but sometimes you might need smaller images or, only one video instead of 3 videos, right? So ask them about that. Ask them, make sure it's going to be mobile friendly. This should be a given in the year 2022. If you're watching this in 2023, right, it should absolutely be a given that every single website is mobile friendly. Never hurts to check though. Make sure that they know what they're doing and how they can develop. This is a developer question. You want to make sure they are developing it so that it is mobile friendly as well as desktop/laptop friendly. So ask them about their strategy for that, and then check. Don't take their word for it. Check. Once the website is up and running, you want to check it on your own devices, right? So check it on your laptop, desktop, check it on your phone, your tablet. If you have an iPhone, make sure you can borrow someone's Android or vice versa, because you want to check it across all devices and make sure it works, it loads, it's easy to read, it's easy to navigate regardless of the device you're using. Otherwise, why bother having it, right? Because again, people are on their phones so much. Even I'm a millennial, right? So a lot of my friends will sit in front of the computer or in front of their television and have their phone up, and they're doing the stuff on their phone. So it has to be mobile friendly. How will you make sure it's easy to read, right? This is a content strategist question. It does affect your SEO, but you really want to make sure that your web designer and content strategist also work really closely together. Your web designer is going to lay it out, the content, hopefully, so it has different sections for different pieces of content. You want your strategist in on that call so that they can work with your designer. This can absolutely be part of obviously you should ask this question in the interview process, but once you hire someone, you want to make sure they work closely with your content strategist. If you don't have a content strategist, you can call me. But your web designer might also have a content strategist that they like to work with. I make a point of networking with a lot of web designers because we have the same clients. And if someone needs one of our services, they need the other person's services. So if you don't have someone, ask if they have a content strategist they like to work with, but make sure that designer is going to create content. It's going to break it up into different sections. So it's really easy to skim. If people come to your website and they just see a giant block of text, it's going to be really intimidating, even for someone like me who loves to read. If I see that giant block of text, I'm going to go, I don't have time for this. I'm going to click away and find what I need somewhere else. Whereas if it's the same amount of content, but broken up and divided into easy to find sections, so much easier to read and consume. And I'm much more likely to stay on that website until I find what I need before I leave. So absolutely make sure that it's broken up into those sections. You need your content strategist. Or again, hopefully they have a good content strategist. And that's the whole other conversation, to make sure the content strategist knows SEO, because not every writer knows about SEO. So that could be a whole other video, but that is it. And then check your performance. Again, page load speed, redirects. Make sure that when you look at the pages of your website that people are visiting, if people are finding a 404 error, it's going to show up in your Google Analytics that people were visiting this page, website.com/404, whatever, right? So that's going to show up. So if you see a lot of those after a new website, that's a problem. So check to make sure that's not happening. Check your load speed. If obviously you want to visit the website yourself to make sure it works, but if it takes a while to load, that could just be your browser. It could be your internet connectivity at the moment. It could be a whole lot of different things. It's not always going to be a problem with the website. Sometimes it is a problem with the website. So check your Google Analytics, because that will give you an objective number. And again, make sure it's under 3 seconds, because if it's over 3 or 4 seconds, and it's your Google Analytics that's telling you this, then that's across the website or across the internet that your website is taking that long to load, and that's a bad thing. So take advantage of that. What mobile friendly, again, you can see whether people are looking at your website from mobile devices or desktop devices. I actually know that most of the people looking at my website do so from a desktop. There are some mobile visitors, but most of them visit from a desktop. So go figure. And that's it. That's all I have for you today. But again, make sure that all of your marketing people and your digital marketing people are working together. This is where agencies can be really helpful, right? Because a lot of the agencies do have the web designer and the SEO person and the content strategist and the social media person, right? And they all work together on their projects. So make sure that you have people who specialize in each thing, because there are not many jack of all trades or Jane of all trades who are really good at what they do. So find someone who's really good at what they do and hire accordingly. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Otherwise, have a great week and happy blogging.